Have Some Podcast, episode 180. My name is Craig Goldberg. Thank you so much. We already have
We're already having an issue. Is it 180 or is it 179?
I don't know. I read recently that you shouldn't number your podcasts because
Why is that, Craig?
Well, the article said don't number your podcast because the number puts a timestamp on it, and every episode should be timeless.
Okay.
That's dumb.
Jake says it's dumb, so we're just going to keep going with 180. Actually, episode 400. Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. And also, the last one I can...
Abby's just playing our podcast.
How about I just play an old one?
Play an old one.
I'm still doing it. I'm so sorry.
What's happening over there?
I can't pause it.
Too much.
Throw your phone away.
I'm really sorry, everybody.
Oh my God. There we go.
That was... so professional.
Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It has been one hell of a week. Abigail Gardner, how are you doing?
I'm good. I feel like today was the first day that I was able to sort of like chill out and let everything sink in that's happened over the last couple of days. I feel like I'm putting all the pieces together and kind of I'm able to actually have my feelings, because it was really overwhelming on Monday to go through the trailer coming out and then doing a live show, etc. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, before I do want to talk about that live show, but Jake, I gotta ask you, man, how are you doing?
You know, I'm doing pretty good, but it's going to take some getting used to this video thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's just so weird. I know it's set up to where it's going to be optimal for the viewers.
Yeah.
But I just want to tell you what I see.
Jake, what do you see?
I see about half of Abby's face.
Oh.
And then just Craig from your mustache down. Like, it's like you're super close like this when you talk.
Yeah.
Like, hi, I'm Craig Goldberg. Blah, 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 blah.
It sounds
That's not how you sound. That's a South Park thing.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm just saying,
it's
it's weird for me because you guys are in a weird position.
Hey, it's weird for me too.
It's weird.
Can we just all say that it's weird, we're going to accept it and lean into it?
We're going to be doing more video podcasts and putting them out because that's what the people want.
Yeah.
Jake, how are you, man? So I guess we should recap it. Obviously, the Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer dropped on Monday. Thank you for everybody who joined. We did a live show on Facebook and YouTube Monday night. And it was incredible. It was so much fun. We had live callers, and special thanks to our friends John Yerkeba and Dan Harshman and Ryan Dole for stopping in and hanging out. And we didn't release that as a podcast because I think we all needed a few days. That was a chance for everybody to kind of get their initial gut reactions out. But we wanted to go ahead and do a more fully fledged breakdown of the trailer and really kind of take a deep dive now that we've had 3-4 days to, I guess it's only been 2 days. It feels like it's been months. I've watched the trailer 300 times.
Yeah.
But the special thanks to everybody, and major shout out to Yes Have Some Group Therapy on Facebook for showing up. It was good. It would be great to find a time that we could do those, that it could cater to everybody internationally, because I know some of our listeners were asleep. Although Andrew Bayless did call in from Australia.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
I think we had somebody from Finland leave a comment during it as well.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
International.
I don't know where that is.
It's
somewhere.
I think that's just it's
in the world.
It's north of South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Abigail.
Yeah.
What was your takeaways coming out of Monday? From we're gonna get right into it. Like we're talking about this trailer.
Yeah.
No fuck budgets today. Oh, I could have done a trailer.
10 fucks to the trailer.
Yeah. As far as I gotta call us out real quick. There was a comment on YouTube from our live show. This guy goes, I shouldn't even say this, but it made me chuckle. He goes, not sure if I should. He goes, no, I'm taking this podcast with a grain of salt, since you guys thought Answer the Call was like the second coming of Jesus.
Dude, we need to be called out. Can I just say that, yes, I have been experiencing this weird level of PTSD because, when Answer the Call came out, I was raving and saying all of these positive things and talking about how excited I was for the next Ghostbusters movie. So it's kind of weird to be doing and saying some of the similar things and like say and feeling the same way as I did back then, but I'm reminding myself this is different. This is Jason Reitman, and now that we've seen the trailer, it's like okay, and although it's a little triggering and a little bit weird, I think we're going to be.
So clearly 2016 us are complete fucking liars or completely delusional.
Dude,
that's something along those lines.
Were we? Can we talk about it?
We've talked about it so much. I think, okay, this will be my opening statements.
Yeah.
I'm making my opening statement.
Yeah, opening statement.
Okay, here's my opening statement. In 2015 going into 2016, we were so unbelievably surprised and excited that something new was happening with Ghostbusters. We had wanted a new movie for so long, not just because we wanted to see Ghostbusters 3. Like, we all want the franchise to move forward. We want more toys. We want more movies, TV shows, video games, what have you. And there was such a fever pitch of excitement that it was really easy to get caught. Now, there was also a lot of initial backlash and there was a lot of negativity, and we didn't want to. You can have an opinion about a movie, whether you want to see it or not, or whether it looks good or not, but it can be really. It's hard to really take a hard stance until you actually
see something. And I was basing a lot of my opinion at that time. I think all three of us were on. I loved Paul Feig, and I really liked, I want to say Stranger Things. Oh my God.
Oh God.
What is, Freaks and Geeks. I love Freaks and Geeks. And I remember we had just finished rewatching that right before the announcement for Answer the Call came out. Or at least the announcement that Paul Feig was going to be directing it. And Bridesmaids was really good, and Kristen Wiig was in that. So I feel like there was some sort of like something that I was basing it on those things, honestly.
Yeah, you were making,
and I was so excited that there was a Ghostbusters movie, of course.
Right.
And the fact
I think it was also it was all those things. It was like getting excited about the franchise coming back and the toys and all that. But also there's like a little bit of when you start to hear people when Ghostbusters is so important to you and it has been for so long, and then something new starts to happen, and then you hear people like it got such a huge negative, response that it almost felt like we needed to be taking up for it.
Yeah.
And it took a while. Like, it took a while for us to be like, oh, wait, we don't have to take up for garbage.
Yeah. And I think the thing, And I think the thing about it was,
it took a while.
Well, the thing about it that was cool is in standing up, like you're saying, Jake, and taking up for it. And we found a group of people and we started our podcast. So it's like,
well, right. It was the genesis of the podcast. Yeah. We wanted to lend a positive voice, or at least an open-minded or optimistic voice. And still, listen, we're not going to recap 2016, but I will say, after watching the Afterlife trailer, and going back and watching that Answer the Call trailer again,
it's different.
They're not the same.
Different. Hey, also, if this movie comes out and it sucks, we'll probably do the same thing. Yeah. Like, we'll love it at first, and then we'll slowly realize we hate it.
Right. Yeah. I'll go back to my hotel and cry.
The point is, we're gonna be honest about it. It just might it's not like we were lying about loving Answer the Call at first. It was just such a weird emotional build up that it was like hard to kind of look at it for what it was. It was just like, we didn't care.
Here's the thing. You know how like sometimes you have a bad relationship with like your parents? It's like you want to love them and you convince yourself you love them, and then they do something shitty and you're like, I still think I like them. Yeah. And then one day you just realize, I don't even like my parents, let alone love them.
So you stop talking to them.
So you stop talking.
And you start a podcast.
I think
we all start crying.
Then you start talking to them again a few years later.
But I think,
and then you like drive through their town, on like a big road trip, and you just make sure you don't post anything so they don't know you're there.
We are all weird about our families. I love it.
But I think like.
I think this new movie is about forgiveness, and that's very appropriate because we need to forgive and let go of the past.
We do. And I think that Ghostbusters Afterlife's already my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Of all time. Like, here's the thing. Like,
Ghostbusters 2 is still better.
Ghostbusters 2 is almost better than the Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer. But Abby, I completely agree with you. That little PTSD thing, you talked about.
Triggered.
There was a lot of familiar emotions on Monday, which is we already went through this thing where it was like, we're finally getting Ghostbusters 3,
yes.
kind of. And we're so
hyped. Can I just say exactly what I felt like? And I finally realized it. The Nintendo 64 video with like the brother and sister opening the Nintendo 64 on Christmas. I'm the sister that's like doesn't really know what's going on, but that's just losing all of her shit, screaming, mostly because everyone else is screaming, and there's a lot of excitement going on, and that's kind of what went on with the Answer to the Call. Little of that
it was a lot of hype.
Seeing it. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to not become a part of that.
But also, hysteria. We were part of the problem. We were part of the hype machine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. But when the trailer dropped on Monday, it did take me back to a lot of those familiar places where I watched it. We talked a lot about it on what our reactions were. We all know we reacted emotionally and strongly, but I had to go back and watch it again and again and again and really analyze what we were seeing because it's new. And anytime something's new, I knew I liked it better than the first time I watched the Terminator Dark Fate trailer because we put up a reaction video to that one and you could just see, I wear it on my face. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was so happy on Monday. It kind of keeps dawning on me over and over that, and I've talked about it ad nauseum on the podcast, but I'll continue to. Ghostbusters 3 is the thing in pop culture of all things that you really never thought you were going to see. And there was a lot of different reasons. Sony was a reason. Bill Murray was a reason. Harold Ramis not being like the start and stop. And it just felt like as recently as before they made this announcement last January, if you would have asked me last December, I would have said, listen, you want my honest feelings of what's going to happen with the franchise? I don't know, because the other guys are all 70, over 70 now, right? Mm-hmm. And they're getting up there. And I guess you could do a legacy sequel, but there was damage done in 2016 that it just... I was hesitant to think that there was a way forward. And then, and especially backtrack a little bit, you see like Men in Black International is coming out, and it was going to be coming out, and they have new actors and that stuff. And I was like, well, maybe if Men in Black is a hit, then that'll renew some interest in Ghostbusters over at Sony. And obviously, we got the announcement beforehand, but that didn't happen. But when the announcement was made that Jason Reitman was going to do it, it dawned on me. I was like, I think this is the only way to do it. Like, I think... Besides, there's a couple directors that I think could have pulled it off and done something that people would automatically grab their interest. It's a short list. It's like James Gunn, J.J. Abrams, maybe Edgar Wright or something. But like, I think Jason Reitman's the only way to go. And even though I was reading this interview with him from like when Juno came out, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, and his quote was, "I would never do a Ghostbusters movie. It would be the most boring Ghostbusters movie of all time. There would be no busting of ghosts." Because he's such a character-driven
and
director.
Thank God he is, because he's introducing really interesting characters and harping rather on the
he's harkening
on the family dynamics. And as somebody who is bringing in a new generation of Ghostbusters or introducing it, he is like the second generation, like literally. He's a Reitman. He's like in the lineage, and he grew up with it and probably had issues and stuff with his dad. And I feel like that's all going to be reflected in this movie, and the way that they're handling the passing of Harold Ramis and having Egon's family be the main characters in this movie. It's the only way to do it.
Will you say that again? I want to hear it.
Egon Spangler's family is the main characters in this movie. Oh. It's incredible. And
I can't
I already love them all so much.
Jake, after a couple days, man, what have your feelings gone up, down, same?
It's like it's almost like it's almost like a little bit of a roller coaster, because it feels like once the trailer came out and after the first day, after we had the live show I swear I watched that trailer probably 40 times, 50 times maybe, just over and over on the first day.
So, besides the fact that it's Ghostbusters and we're all excited, like, can we at least admit that's a good trailer?
It's a well done trailer.
It's a really good trailer.
Which is rare. But on top of that, like,
I bet Sony saw it for the first time. We're like, we're not sure about this, and then Jason Ryan was like, that means it's perfect.
Good. They're like, we don't get it. Good.
My the next day felt better for me, and it felt kind of like a little more calming. I think it was maybe like halfway through the day before I went back and watched the trailer again. But it's also like, I think in the middle of the night at some point, I woke up and I was like, what was on those shelves? Like, just in the middle of the night, I like woke up and I'm like, oh, I need to watch it again real quick so I can see what was on that shelf. It's like, it's just popping into my head at random times of the day. And it's like, it's still hard. Like you said, it's hard to believe it's happening. And it's also like watching the trailer, especially when it gets to the voiceover, the Venkman voiceover, it feels so weird for that to happen. Not in a bad way, but just to be watching a modern trailer and then all of a sudden, oh, this is a trailer for a movie coming out next year with a voiceover from our favorite movie of all time from 1984 is just playing over it. And that seems so weird in a good way to me.
And you're talking to fan editor of the year over here, Craig Goldberg, who knows all about that scene.
Listen, Jake and Abby were giving me some shit. Somebody yesterday put up a fan edit of the trailer, and all they did was put in the Ghostbusters theme. They didn't even put it in at a good place. It's like
it wasn't. It didn't. It doesn't fit. That song doesn't fit.
So I did a little of my own editing, and it's not even a fan. It's a little tribute, a little Harold Ramis tribute.
It's a fan edit.
People seem to enjoy it. Go check it out on the Yes Have Some YouTube page after you finish today's episode.
Yeah, go check it out before we take it down.
Before it's taken down by Sony.
I'm not afraid, not afraid. That's what you did, right?
Well, there was as a joke, I made a fan edit just for our friends group that used the Answer the Call music.
When you posted that to us, when you showed that to us, I was like, no. I was like, take that off. I was like, don't let the public see this.
Rust City.
There it is.
Way better.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Rust City is no longer the name of the movie. It's also not GB20. It is officially Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm going to take that down because that's not going to work.
That's cool.
So yeah, Jake, I completely agree, man. Like, you go through like a series of emotions, right? As you're watching the trailer. Like, first off, it's like, oh my God, this is the first time I'm taking all this in. And then you realize, okay, we're not in New York. We're in a field, and there's these kids, and they're hanging out near this mine. And it does not feel like what you have seen in previous Ghostbusters movies.
No.
Not at all.
But I want to say, just because it doesn't feel like what you've seen in previous Ghostbusters movies does not mean it doesn't feel like a Ghostbusters movie. Because yes, aesthetically, they're in a different, it's different scenery, in a different environment, but everything in that trailer is Ghostbusters to me. I mean, it's especially once you go down into like the laboratory and all that, like,
yeah,
it feels more Ghostbusters than I mean, it's more than anything. Like, I saw a couple weird comments. I'm not going to name names. I saw somebody comment that said, maybe if this wasn't Ghostbusters, it would look good. Like, bullshit. That is a bullshit comment, and this is why I need to say it right now. That is a dumb thing to say. To say, well, if this just was something else, not Ghostbusters, then I would be like, oh, this looks good. That means it looks good. I always think that's a stupid argument, and people love to use that argument with remakes, you know? If it wasn't called this, it would be perfect. I'm like, no, because then it would be a rip. Like, shut up. That doesn't make any sense. And you know what? Also, it's a 2-minute trailer. Right.
So it's 2 minutes of like 10 to 15 second scenes from a movie that's probably going to be around 2 hours or so.
Right.
So you can make a trailer look like anything or seem like it's any, like, I will agree with people that the tone looks different and that it does look very different from Ghostbusters 1 and 2. But that's probably a good thing, because if they were just making it exactly like Ghostbusters 1 and 2, it probably wouldn't turn out so well, because that's usually the fate of sequels that try to do that. Like, look at the Terminator franchise. That's why fucking Terminator is bullshit now, is because they keep trying to be exactly like Terminator 1 and 2. It's just funny, not going to happen.
If you think back to Answer the Call and you watch that, I know the trailer's very slapstick, and maybe a little bit over the top, but that movie specifically tried to be Ghostbusters-esque. Like, all the way.
Yeah, in a way that was like a crutch-like. It was like they didn't have an idea, so they were like, let's just follow the formula.
Right.
And switch out a few things and improv it, mostly, all of it.
Yeah, there doesn't feel like there's a formula. Well, maybe not a Ghostbusters formula. Like, obviously, there's some tropes that happen in these legacy sequels, whether it be Force Awakens or Jurassic World, that that maybe some of that will bleed through into this movie. But guess what? I'm fine with it, because you have to figure out a way. The nut that you have to crack, that the hard part about this type of movie with this type of franchise is that you have to figure out a way, to make the story worthy. Is this a story worth telling? Well, to anybody who cares about Ghostbusters or Harold Ramis or what happened to them after 1989, there's a million stories to be told. I personally absolutely love the idea of a more personal, family-oriented, character-driven, coming-of-age story set within the Ghostbusters universe, which, by all accounts, it seems like what we're getting. That seems way more interesting to me, and I've been saying this the whole time, and I said this before this movie was ever announced. I mean, we'd have to go back into the podcast and archives available on iTunes and Spotify and YouTube. We'd have to go back and figure it out, but I know we've had conversations in the past. They see you guys whispering now. It loses its effect.
Oh, you guys just thought that was like someone stepping in?
No, but I know there's been times in the past where we've talked about this type of movie being made, and what about it? What if they made a movie that was
I distinctly think we could go back in our archives and find us talking and having that conversation and saying, do what The Force Awakens did, pass on the torch, do the lineage, and have a new generation come around that's taught by the older one. And
right, but not just like, oh, cool, we got Taron Killam and fucking Jason Sudeikis and Michael Shea, and they're the new Ghostbusters, and Rey's going to train them. Like, that would be probably funny, but you're not going to really introduce a whole lot of new ground unless you just do something completely off the wall and different. And I think we could talk about this for a second. That was what the Russo brothers' plan was with the Drew Pearce script or treatment that was written a couple of years ago. Who knows if that'll ever see the light of day, but I don't think it was this. I think it was maybe in the future or in outer space, or I feel like it was way over the top, wild and different and crazy, and maybe that would have been a cool way to go. But that trailer we saw Monday feels so grounded and so set in a reality, and it's established in a world that we know, which is the world of Ghostbusters 84 and 89. And with one piece of dialogue, Paul Rudd says there hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years. That tells us, that answers one major question, which is, what has been going on for 30 years as far as paranormal activity?
The Ghostbusters haven't been active. They've been in retirement, in seclusion, from what it looks like. And there was probably some fallings out going on. So that's where we are.
You know, also speaking to that, Craig, about the tone of the film or whatever, that's exactly what Ghostbusters 1 is like. Besides the fact that you do have ghosts happening, the Ghostbusters are mainly, besides Louis Tully, the Ghostbusters themselves are the only ones that are funny. Winston's not even, like, he's not funny. He doesn't have any, like, really funny lines.
It's real world funny. Like, it's not punchlines.
That's a big Twinkie.
It's
is not like a punchline.
The world is a real, the world of Ghostbusters 1 is completely believable as our timeline, our universe or whatever. And that's one of the things that failed in Answer the Call, is that it's super over the top and silly, and every single character in Answer the Call is like throwing out one-liners trying to be funny. And like that's the difference between that in the original Ghostbusters, and this feels like that. It feels like that's the real world. And it doesn't mean like, I see a lot of people who are like, I thought Ghostbusters was a comedy. It's a fucking 2-minute trailer. Like, it's watch the movie. There's probably some funny stuff in it. And also, if there's not, who the fuck cares? Like, I don't care if it's not funny, because that's not, like, it's not going to be as funny as Bill Murray. Like, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis they're amazing together. And it might not be that. So it doesn't bother me if you don't try to keep that part of it going.
Right.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, I feel like
Paul Rudd is in this movie. It's going to be funny. That's what I texted my brother.
Exactly. Paul Rudd is in it.
Yeah, my brother was like, yeah, I really enjoyed the trailer. It was really well done. I hope it's going to be funny. And I was like, well, I think it will be. I'm glad that they didn't lead with all the humor and all the jokes and spoil that. I didn't think it was necessary. I think that they were making a very respectful trailer that sets things so far apart. And it's so artistic and so beautiful and such a nice thing to take in that I'm just so happy that Jason Reitman is doing this.
Yeah, and I agree. And like, listen, we all know Bill and Dan, and they're all going to be in it. And if you put Bill Murray in he's going to be funny. Bill Murray's funny and Answer the Call. Like, it's not.
Yeah, you're right.
But what I will say, the caveat, the thing to think about is the story they're trying to tell is going to pull on some heartstrings.
Yeah,
because we're not only going to learn that we're going to learn the fate of the Ghostbusters. We're going to learn what happened to them and why. You know, for all we know, after Ghostbusters 2, or maybe even after Ghostbusters the video game, if they go there, that which I don't think they're going to. We can get into that later. But I just don't. I think if this movie's about Ivo Shandor, I just don't care. Like, Ghostbusters the video game is great, and it's fun, and it's a really well done video game, especially. But it's a video game.
It's a video game. Like, I think people need to realize, like, people who are getting mad that, like, first of all, why are people mad if the video game's not canon? Like, sure, it's great and it's fun and it's got, like, it follows the continuity, but it's a fucking video game. And video games and comics and cartoons, they usually don't follow the continuity. It's it's not a movie.
Let it be its own thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyways, what I was going to say was, we might find out that once they defeated Vigo in 1989 or whatever, that wrapped up the need for the Ghostbusters. Because if you remember, and this is not something I picked up on as a kid, the reason why there's ghosts showing up in New York City in the first Ghostbusters is because of the cross rip that's about to happen, because of the second coming of Gozer or whatever. So, it's kind of a regional issue more than anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And if he's got a mind there, and if that's one of the things, and now I'm going to reference Troy Benjamin and Ghostbusters HQ and his article that he wrote, which is like a scene-by-scene breakdown. One of the things that he mentioned, which I also felt while watching the trailer, was the town of Somerville, like, hiding some sort of a secret, like maybe seeming nice on the outside, but having like some shit going on. And I really like that. I think that's going to be one of the most interesting parts of this movie, that there's activity and that there's something going on that is tied to that original movie, whatever it is. I like that.
But here's, Jake, I'll throw to you in 1 second, but the idea of being able to expand on the mythology that is built in the first Ghostbusters movie, you know, people forget the scene when they're in jail, the scene where they all go to jail and Ray's got the blueprints and Egon gives the speech about Ivo Shandor. That's not a throwaway scene. That explains the plot that explains what is going on in the movie. Why Dana's building is basically radioactive to paranormal activity in that moment. Explains who Ivo Shandor was. The funniest, most underrated line is when Egon gives that little smirk and he goes, performed a lot of unnecessary surgeries. Did you want to say it?
That's my favorite line too.
You want to say it too?
I was going to say it too. I love that shit. I love weird cult shit like that. And I'm excited to see.
I want to see a whole movie.
Some of that unfold.
I want to see a series on History Channel called Evo Shandor's Unnecessary Surgeries.
Dude, yes. That shit used to happen with like weird serial killers and cults and stuff and like all sorts of scientific experiments. And
but to
I
expand,
like that.
so to continue to expand on that mythology, which we can only assume is at least a major part of the movie, because we see the Shandor mine. We know about the Shandor Mining Company through pictures that we've seen. That's not a secret. And also, there's a fucking terror dog on Paul Rudd's car, on the hood of his car. And when there's terror dogs, there's Zool, and there's Vince Clortho, and there's Gozer, and there's Evo Shandor, and all sorts of other stuff. Now, is any of this real? Like, is this really happening? Or is this just like, are we in the best timeline of fan fiction that's ever happened? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. What I want to do is take a deep breath, plug a little bit of our social media, let everybody know where they can find us. We've got a lot of new listeners, new people on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and all that. This is the beginning of a really unbelievable year, an unbelievable time to be a Ghostbusters fan. And I just want to go ahead and let everybody know where they can find us. So if you are watching this on YouTube or listening on your, what are those things called? iPhones or Android telephones where you get your podcasts, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, like I just said. Follow us on social media on Instagram and Twitter, YHSpodcast.com. At YHS Podcast is our handle on those other platforms. And man, I tell you what, I really love that we have this chance to even grow the Ghostbusters community more and build it out. And 2016 was a really crazy and fun year, and I just can't imagine what lies ahead. Jake, how are you feeling? How are you preparing for 2020? Are you prepping? Are you like a doomsday ghost prepper like Egon Spengler?
I don't know how you would say I'm prepping. It's like it's almost like I want to put it completely out of my head almost. It's like I saw the trailer and I love it, but I kind of don't want to see anything else. I know it's not going to happen, but it would be great if there were no more trailers. And with other movies, I'm usually pretty good at watching the first trailer and that's it. Like, I'm pretty good at avoiding, like, I have the willpower to be like, I'm not going to watch any more trailers. But I'm not going to be able to do that with Ghostbusters. Like, when there's a second trailer out, like, it's going to, like, I'll be able to avoid whatever the TV spots are, because that stuff's easy to avoid, because it's usually so close to when the movie comes out.
And none of us have TV.
But trailer two, like, I'm going to watch it, you know? And it would be great to me if it was just like, we saw the trailer, wipe it out of our fucking memories.
Yeah.
So then when it gets to the movie, it's like, oh, okay, oh, right, Ghostbusters. Because it's going to be like a long fucking, what is it, 6 months?
None of that's happened. Nothing you just said is happening. Here's what's really going to happen.
Nothing I said is happening. Yeah.
We're going to speculate every week leading up to the release of the movie. We're going to watch every trailer. We're going to see every little clip that comes out, every photo. Not the leaked ones. We don't want to look at those.
Nope.
And you shouldn't leak photos.
You shouldn't.
Because that's sketchy.
Don't do that.
But yeah, I'm going to fucking see everything as much as I don't want to, just like you guys are saying. We're going to consume it.
You know what I was really
and I hope it doesn't, I don't think it's not going to taint or ruin anything
come
at this point. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun. And listen, here's the thing. When the second trailer comes out, well, let's talk about that real quick. So this trailer came out, we talked about it a couple months ago. When do we think the trailer is going to come out? And we kind of had circled this week because this is Jumanji week. It's a national Jumanji week. A lot of people don't know that. And I think in the back of all of our heads, we're like, you know what? Probably not. It's still a little early. And when Answer the Call came out, we didn't get a trailer till March, which was later than we all thought. So we thought maybe January, February, whatever. This is the very beginning of the marketing push for the relaunch of the Ghostbusters franchise. The good news is the trailer's been very well receptive. Over 10 million views on YouTube. Tons of positivity. Lots of intrigue. I've realized that the general public does not follow the Ghostbusters community or Ghostbusters lore quite as much as we do. Because I've read so many people I would consider to be smart people, be like, wait a minute, so whose grandchildren are they? And I'm like, did you not watch the same thing I did? Come on. So what I want to ask you guys, and I'll throw to both of you, there's going to be a second trailer, probably around March or April. do we think they're going to pull a Force Awakens, and just like with that Force Awakens second trailer, they revealed Han and Chewie at the end, which I still contend, well, until last week, the second Force Awakens trailer was my favorite movie trailer of all time. This one, as of right now, the Afterlife trailer is my favorite movie trailer of all time. Do we think they're going to have that reveal? Because I still think to get that last push of mainstream like chaos, you're going to need to reveal that Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson are in this movie.
I don't know if I would say they're going to reveal all three of them, but I wouldn't doubt it if it's like a Dan thing. Like maybe the last scene in the trailer is, some sort of line from Rey. But I don't know if I would go as far as saying that they're going to just show everybody.
Holy shit. What if it's like McKenna Grace and Logan Kim and they're firing the proton pack and there's ghosts everywhere and all this chaos, and then it cuts to Dan and he walks in, he just goes, I'm going to have to call the boys.
Dude.
And then we'll be like, who's he talking about?
I don't know, man, because I also think like there are, so like the thing that everybody loves to do is just theorize about what the plot is. And I know it's so early. It's only 2 minutes of footage, but there are so many people that have so many plot ideas about what they think could be happening. And some of them have been very interesting. And I don't even know if they're things we should be talking about because they're so, like, who knows if they're true or not. But
we could do some speculation. There's nothing wrong with that.
Are we talking specifically about John's theories? Because they always stress me out.
I think this might have been an AJ theory.
AJ?
I think
Okay.
What I'm thinking about is there's the theory that maybe the Ghostbusters are trapped on the other side. And that's where they've been, and that's why Egon has just disappeared with all the equipment there, and that something is going to happen towards the end of this movie in which, our new characters kind of like bring them back, which
Rescue
would
mission.
be. Oh, what if it's like you hear Dan Aykroyd say on your left,
right.
Dude, yes, exactly.
portals open up. But that would be something I think it would be hard to. It would be. I feel like it would be hard to reveal if that's the case, where they're maybe trapped in some sort of thing and they come back. Then it's probably going to be like they're coming back for the very end of the film, and it would probably be hard to include them into the trailer if that's the case without giving that kind of stuff away.
Yeah,
I could see Ray not being trapped, but the rest being trapped, and like him being the one that somehow is out and
just
has to help
Winston?
wrangle him.
Where's Winston? He's trapped. He's fine. He's trapped.
Winston's trapped for 3/4 of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
No,
Well, when they gave me the
not
script,
right,
I was
yeah.
only trapped for 1/4 of the movie.
I still like my theory that Ray is just asleep in the backseat of the Ecto-1.
Yeah.
And like that's just where he lives, and he's just like after they catch that ghost in the car, Ray just pops up and he's like, "What? What's happening?"
Pizza?
I guess there's a lot of ways that they can reincorporate the old team. Personally, I hope that it's not like. I hope it's not that. I wouldn't want to see them back digitally de-aged or anything like that. Like I want to see Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson as they are now.
I don't think. Yeah,
strapping on proton packs for the first time.
I wasn't I wouldn't think
time.
that if they are trapped somewhere and they come back that they're going to be the same age. I would think they would just let them be old.
Right.
That's too much work.
Yeah.
Henry Thomas plays all three of them.
Yeah, Henry Thomas is as well. Abby.
I want them to all be trapped in the Mercado.
Oh God.
Okay.
You're out of here.
Yeah, it smells like bologna and regrets. Sorry.
Anyways.
Yes.
Why you do that? Yeah, there's a lot of theories. People jump to conclusions. I mean, honestly, this would be, I don't think this is what they did, but sometimes trailers play with your emotions a little bit. There's still a chance that this is not Spangler's family, that this is like Ray's family, and they're just somehow fucking with everybody. And I don't think that's going to happen because I think that would be a really weird a weird misdirection that wouldn't make any sense. But we can safely assume this is Egon Spengler's family.
There's a lot of arrows pointing in that direction.
And I think it's also safe to assume that Egon moved to Somerville obsessed with preventing anything like
he knew something was going to happen.
Yeah. And I think, it's that story. I think I mentioned this on Monday, that story of your work taking you away from your family and your family not even being able to understand.
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein, all that shit.
Yeah. Egon's Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, it was his wedding day.
I didn't you already kind of mentioned this, but I never, since the beginning when we found out that there was going to be another Ghostbusters film, like, of course, as some of the leaks came out, it started to fall into place, but it wasn't until I saw that Terror Dog foot that I was really like, oh, we're gonna get Gozer again. Like it never really occurred to me that like the villain. I just always assumed like, oh, who's gonna be the new villain? Like what's gonna be the new? Who are they fighting this time?
Right.
And the fact that it's like, oh, it's just like it's literally Gozer trying again. He's like trying to come back again.
Yeah.
And I mean that still is that still isn't 100%
right.
Certain, but with all the things we've seen, it's just like, whoa, like that's just a cool idea. And also the fact that we know Gozer can take the form of whatever it wants to be. So it's like they're not locked into trying to recast or bring back, I can't remember her name, but the woman who, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Hey, we all walked past her at Ghostbusters Fan Fest.
We did.
I got her autograph.
You got her autograph.
Slavica Jovan. I mean, people are calling for Paul Rubens, the original Gozer.
I would be into that.
I would be into that too. But Abby, so let's start breaking down this trailer. Well, last thing I want us to talk about the thing about the I do think there's other entities besides Gozer that like could be involved. I actually think we're gonna see Ivo Shandor in this movie. Like I do. It'll be interesting to see who's playing him.
Yeah.
God. What if it's like one of those surprise things that takes you completely out of the movie? Like, holy shit, it's Emilio Estevez.
Yeah. Emilio.
But let's.
I think we'd see him. It makes sense to me that we would. Maybe he's like been drawing his essence or power from that area for somehow.
Well, like, what do they mine? Like, what has he been mining for? What is that? Oh God, I'm a bad Ghostbusters fan. I'm gonna look something up and I'll get back to it in a second. Let's start breaking down this trailer though. Let's talk about some of the details. It opens up. We see Finn Wolfhard's character Trevor with Celeste O'Connor. Abby, you called this weeks ago. Go ahead, do your bragging.
I just figured that they were going to have a romantic relationship. It makes sense. Finn Wolfhard's going to be the new kid in town. Celeste O'Connor's very cute. She's new on the scene. She is, I think, like in her early 20s, but she looks like she could play a lot younger. So following the two of them on Instagram, like I have been with the filming process of this movie, I just figured that their characters would be romantically involved, and it looks like they will be, because they're like hanging out in that thing above the mine right before the big supernatural moment. And I like that. I liked the quiet strumming guitar, and I loved the shot going of the whatever El Camino, I guess, driving with all the kids in it. It didn't really feel like anything I've seen from Ghostbusters, and I'm not going to say it felt like Stranger Things, because I know that Jake's going to go off on that. It just felt... I just liked it. I liked seeing those two together, and they have good chemistry already that you can see. So
let's talk about that, because that has been kind of a common thing we've seen over the last couple of days is it seems really easy to say, oh, it's like Stranger Things. I've got a lot of thoughts on that. I know you guys do too. Jake, do you think that is a fair assessment?
Well, kind of yes and no, but this is the thing. Like, people who are saying that it's reminding them of Stranger Things, whether some people are saying that in a good way. Some people are like, oh, cool, this looks like Stranger Things. I like that. Some people are saying, this looks like Stranger Things. Both sides are wrong. And both sides are a little dumb for it, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell everybody who's listening why you're dumb.
Right now. Yeah.
I like that I get to see Jake too.
I don't know if anybody knows that like Stranger Things is completely cobbled from other things. There's nothing original happening in Stranger Things. And it's not a secret. Everybody knows it. It's very aware of itself, and it's very heavily handed with its like references and what it's pulling from.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's okay, because like it is a like mainly good fun show to watch. But it's very, very like, hey, look at this thing we took from E.T. Look at this thing we took from Poltergeist. Look at this shit we took from Ghostbusters. That's what season 2 is. People are like, this looks like season 2 of Stranger Things.
I'm being reminded of something that's reminding me of this.
From Ghostbusters. Like, you can't say it seems like Stranger Things because Stranger Things takes all its shit from old movies like Ghostbusters. So shut the fuck up. You're wrong. Ghostbusters looks like Ghostbusters. It looks like E.T. You're seeing things that make you feel. Somebody said, oh, you know what? This looks a little like Super 8. Yeah, it does, which also looks like E.T. and fucking all these old Stephen King movies and Steven Spielberg movies. Just because Finn Wolfhard is in a movie does not mean that it's strange. Finn Wolfhard will be 35 years old, and people are still gonna be like, it's fucking Stranger Things.
Fucking Stranger Things.
Fuck you.
I saw
like,
Finn
reminded,
Hey, I saw Finn Wolfhard eating ice cream with his family today at the Baskin Robbins. Looked like fucking Stranger Things.
I saw somebody be like, oh, cool, kids on bikes, just like Stranger Things. And I'm like, there's no fucking bikes in this trailer. There's no kids on bikes. Like, are people even watching it?
Dude, Shut the fuck up. My fucking neighborhood is Stranger Things. It's just... That's something that exists.
Shut up with
People
the Stranger
are narrow-minded,
thing.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
My dad's good friend at work, his son had a bar mitzvah, and they're family friends with the Wolfhards, and Finn Wolfhard showed up. Fucking Stranger Things.
Hey, there's gonna, like... they'd be like, oh, cool. Like, Paul Rudd's got a ghost trap, huh? That's the fucking thing they kept Dart in Stranger Things. Fucking...
Okay.
God, I love that.
Yeah, get your origins right. Like, know where things come from. All that shit.
Dude,
it's just a dumb thing to complain about. Like, to say that it's like a movie when that movie stole it from this.
Also, kids do ride bikes. I've seen that. Seen it all the time.
Do they? It's like, hey, I bet you used to ride a bike. Yeah. Like, whoever's complaining about it.
Dude, next time
next time you see a kid on a bike, oh, hey, Stranger Things.
What's up, Stranger Things? What do you think you're doing? It's like saying, like, Lord of the Rings is like Game of Thrones. Like, you have to know which one actually came first.
Right.
Yeah. Fucking Game of Thrones shit with orcs in it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like watching fucking Mike and Dave need wedding dates and be like, oh, what is this? Wedding Crashers?
You lost me.
Nope. None of that.
I said it wrong anyway.
We're not doing any of that.
Hey, both movies are great.
Are they?
Here's the thing. Jake, I couldn't agree with you more. First of all, shout out to Finn Wolfhard, who's getting himself in all the good groups of kids. He's in the Ghostbusters group, the Stranger Things group, and the It group.
He's part of the Losers Club, the Best, the Beautiful, the Only, and what's the other one?
What are the Stranger Things? Do they call themselves something?
I don't know.
Friends of 11. That's pretty cool.
Wait, that sounds like a support
Friends
group.
of 11 is a group
People did the same thing with It. You know, people did the same thing with It. They were like, oh, they really Stranger Things up to this. And I'm like, this is what... This
You've all seen Stranger Things.
Is literally what Stranger Things is trying to do.
By the way, a much better assessment of this trailer would have been like, oh, look, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Because that's what it all goes back
to.
Yeah,
E.T.
Craig,
this feels like Alien.
Yeah, Craig, you pointed out, like, whenever the trailer first came out, you sent us a screenshot, and you were like, this literally could be a screenshot from E.T.
Well, the shot of Finn Wolfhard walking towards the barn is, like, it's on purpose. It looks just like Elliot walking towards the little shack in E.T.
Fucking misty, blue, cornfield, the way the light's coming, where it's coming from, what you see in the background, all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. Also, Finn Wolfhard's hair looks amazing.
Wow.
Golly.
I like Finn Wolfhard.
Is this a bad robot movie?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
God. Yeah. Oh, cool. It's a Ghostbusters movie.
Your movies.
Yeah, it's a Ghostbusters movie. What is this, Stranger Things or Spielberg? I hope so. I hope it's great.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, what is this? Fucking Spy and Bridesmaids? Hope not. Somehow worse than both of those. Yeah, man, Jake, I couldn't agree with you more. And like, that's going to continue to happen because it's a coming of age tale with kids and supernatural stuff. So that Stranger Things is the reference point for that from now on.
Stephen King is the reference point for what you just said. Coming of age and supernatural. Yeah, I know. But yeah.
You're right.
But Stephen King was the inspiration for Stranger Things.
Stephen King and Spielberg are the actual reference points. Mm-hmm. But Stranger Things is what people see, and people are fucking stupid.
Yeah, dude.
So there.
Yeah.
But
they're all good ingredients, though. Like, it's all stuff that I like, and I'm excited about all of it.
And listen, Jason Reitman
I like all those things.
Jason Reitman said when he was doing auditions that he did not want to cast Finn Wolfhard because of that. But that's how good Finn Wolfhard actually is. Like, he's legit great. It is what it is, and I think he's going to be great in this movie.
Yeah.
There's only a couple funny pieces of dialogue in the trailer.
He's got one of them.
And he's got one of them. Mm-hmm. Like, remember that summer we died under our table? Mm-hmm. That's pretty deadpan. That's kind of funny. I like it.
Deadpan delivery, similar to Harold Ramis.
A little bit of Harold Ramis. So, okay. Ooh, Jake, you're fired up, man. I like that. I like what just happened.
Keep grinding those gears.
Yeah. Jake, I like him.
Yeah, I like this guy. We should talk to him once a week and record it.
Yeah. We should start a podcast.
What do you think?
Now, I do want to remind everybody that we are talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife, the very first trailer. We are breaking it down, and you can tune into Yes Have Some podcast every week for these types of discussions. Let's keep going. So the trailer opens. We see Celeste O'Connor right off the bat. We see Finn Wolfhard. They look down in this mine. Something shoots up. Something ghost-like, I dare say. Mm-hmm. And then the trailer kind of moves on. We hear the Paul Rudd voiceover explaining the earthquakes or the ground swells that are happening in Somerville. There's no tectonic plates. Nobody even plays loud music. Great line.
Yeah.
God, it's just like Tremors.
It's like Tremors.
But also before all that, you realize that their family's really poor, and that's why they're moving, and that they're going through a tough time, which I relate to, and I like. And I like the brother-sister dynamic, and I also think that reminds me of Ghostbusters, where it's like, oh, we're broke, we're getting kicked out, things are shitty to begin with.
Yes.
It's good.
That is great. That's a great point. Nobody's brought that up. Ghostbusters starts with them being thrown out of their damn jobs.
Yeah, and this family's being thrown into the last place they have to stay. And and whatever happens from there is what the whole story is.
Yeah. So Paul Rudd explains the earthquakes, and we start kind of getting that voiceover, and we are introduced to Phoebe and Trevor and Callie, who is their mother. And I'm not going to lie. I know we saw some of those pictures of that farmhouse when the movie was in production, but how fucking cool does that look?
Yeah.
It's tight. I got really annoyed. Somebody on YouTube was like, what is that, the Niebolt house? Like, come on, man.
It is in Canada, which is where the Niebolt house was. But this is a fucking sunken-in farmhouse and a bunch of other stuff. An Ecto inside of it, too. Yeah. So, no, it's not.
All right, let me talk about chills, right? Ivan Reitman talks about the first time that he saw his 4 guys coming down the street. Whew. When you get the voiceover from McKenna Grace and she says, I found this in my house, and they show her doing the puzzle on the floorboard going down the fire pole, and you immediately realize you're in some sort of makeshift basement laboratory. Mm-hmm. You see the spores, mold, and fungus collection. You see a proton pack for the first time. She's lighting the way with a PKE meter, which I think is hilarious. Like, she's not, she's like, oh, I don't know what this is. I think it's a flashlight.
Using a phone with flashlight mode, exactly.
Patty Tolan is just sitting in the booth in the corner.
You guys are excellent.
I know New York.
Oh my God.
She's like, you guys are scientists, but I know Somerville. I mean, what'd you guys think? Jake, what'd you think seeing that proton pack for the first time? Besides the fact that I know you want to build, we've talked, you want a pack.
Yeah, it's just cool because, like, 30 years, and it's a proton pack, and it's like the proton pack. It's not like a weird version of it. It's not like a dumbed down or a like souped up version. It's just a proton pack, and it's noticeable. Everybody knows what that is. People who probably don't know a whole lot about Ghostbusters, they know what that is, and it's an iconic piece of machinery, and it's just cool to see it, and to see it just sitting on the table with like all of the other jars and electronics and it just feels so good, especially like it goes back to what I was saying about how the voiceover feels unreal because so much of the other movie feels real life and it's so new, but then it's like, oh, but also there's a Ghostbusters, there's a Proton Pack right there.
Bringing it home.
It just feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so. Jake, I want to take me back to the moment that you're watching the trailer for the first time. You've got this voiceover. We see that they've brought the ghost trap to school. We see Paul Rudd holding the trap. He goes, "Whoa, killer replica!" And she's like, "Replica of what?" And he's like, "It's a ghost trap." And she's like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck's a ghost trap?" And he's
And you're like, and then you're like, oh, that's every adult conversation I've had while wearing a proton pack with a normal human being.
"What is that, a vacuum cleaner?"
Yeah.
You here to
What are
clean
you
the
guys
stairs?
supposed to be? Yeah.
So Paul Rudd starts explaining to Logan Kim and to McKenna Grace. I should start using character names. Phoebe. Well, we don't have one for Logan Kim.
Phoebe
yet.
and friend.
Phoebe and her friend. Wait a minute. This is not the first time Paul Rudd's been around a Phoebe. I'm putting that out there.
Who was
right
one
now.
of his friends. Is Jake aware?
What? What are we talking about?
Paul Rudd was on a season of Friends. He dated Phoebe.
He marries her.
He marries
yeah.
her.
Yeah. So there you
Okay.
go.
Is
I've
Jake
never seen
invested
I've
in
never
Friends
seen an
now?
episode of Friends.
Okay. Anyways.
First of all, I want to say I love the fact that Phoebe goes down because it's like the hatch from Lost. I love the idea of having a hidden compartment, a bunch of stuff that's underground. I love watching her explore and see all that stuff for the first time. I'm excited to see that scene unfold. And yes, seeing the spores, molds, and fungus in the proton pack. It's like,
Don't forget there was symmetrical book stacking in the house.
yeah,
It was.
little flourishes and Easter eggs like that
Yep.
of
Yeah.
the things that we know and that we love. Not just a bust, but like stuff that's real and tangible.
It was
That's really
great.
cool.
It was great. So, okay, let's talk about this. I'm trying to get my bearings and remember the trailer I've watched 50,000 times this week. Okay, so Paul Rudd starts explaining to McKenna Grace and to Logan Kim about the Ghostbusters. He's like, New York was like The Walking Dead back in the 80s. He's like, you don't know about ghosts? Which also, it feels like one of those things like their parents would be like, hey, teacher, don't talk to my kids about this stuff. It's like, these are my kids.
Yeah, but I think that Callie, their mom, is probably busy working if she's dead broke.
Also, she brought the trap, so like you're opening yourself up for it.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like when a kid brings a gun to school.
He-
Look what
you
I
can
found in my
tell-
dad's cabinet.
You can tell he's instantly excited. Like he not only is like, oh, cool replica. He's like, oh, let me put my hands on it. Like,
Yes.
people don't usually do that. You can tell he's very excited to see it, and he's
Right.
like, oh shit.
So a little green mist comes out of the trap. He drops it. You get that voiceover where he goes, who are you? Mm-hmm. Jake, we know what we saw next.
These are your first steps. Sorry,
That was good.
but we're all in that moment.
We see her pull back the flight suit and it says Spangler.
Yeah.
And it was kind of this weird thing where I actually saw that happen before she did it. Like at that point, you knew.
Yeah.
But when you saw that Spangler name tag, I literally I lost my fucking
She
mind.
was fucked up.
I
That's
was
what happened.
fucked
Yeah,
up.
but
Yeah.
it's also like it also takes place during the very big like emotional swell of music, and the music that's playing right before that and during then, it is like a new orchestral version of some of the original Bernstein. Is it Bernstein? Bernstein.
Elmer Bernstein
Music.
Yeah.
Like while he's talking to them, you can like it took me maybe a couple watches because I was so invested in what was happening that I was like, that is the original theme just being played in a different version. So like hearing that swell, seeing the Spangler, and then immediately after that's when the Peter Venkman voiceover starts right there. So it's just like it's like 3 or 4 things hitting you all at once,
Right.
and it's a little bit of an overload.
Yeah, and I think when the voiceover starts like that, so let's talk about that. The Peter Venkman voiceover is the scene where him and Ray are talking. He's talking about how we were destined to get kicked out of this dump. Call it luck.
Fate, call it luck, call it karma.
Fate, call it karma. Which when I was a kid, I thought he said caramel. My entire childhood.
Call it caramel.
Craig's like, I want to call it caramel.
Call it caramel.
Caramel's delicious.
I was like, oh, he calls it caramel. I call it caramel.
I remember when I was a kid. I remember when I was really, I used to be like, why is he singing this? Like, I was hung up on the fact that he's like doing it in a song, and I was like, what song is this? Like, I didn't realize that people did that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I just don't know what's happening. As a kid, I was so confused.
And if you watch it with like subtitles, there's little music notes on the side. Like, he's singing.
Oh, yeah.
He's singing.
The caramel song.
He's doing the caramel song. So,
fucking
obviously,
I like it.
That voiceover ends with everything happens for a reason. And that's a very specific thing for them to pick out.
Mm-hmm.
And
it adds so much importance to the movie and ties it back to the originals in such a strong way. It's like a fantastic use of that original content without having to see any of the original four guys on screen.
If you think of the first movie, if you think about that line, everything happens for a reason, right? Fate, luck, and karma. What are the odds that the biggest interdimensional cross rip of a lifetime is about to happen in New York City? And there just so happens to be 3 parapsychologists who are actively investigating and financially and physically and they've got the smarts, they've got the scientific
tools and the talent.
They've got the tools and the talent.
I think you're looking for the tools and the talent.
Acumen is the word I was looking for to take on that threat.
Boots, belts, and elbow pads.
Oh, you gotta go up the attic.
Oh. My son go up there. Anyways. So listen, everything happens for a reason. What are the odds that this family would be left with this? Like, because here's the thing that no one's talked about yet.
They're broke and they have a free car now. That's what's happening.
That's what you're talking. They can fit a lot of groceries in that car.
Dude, what if there's
get
a
around
scene,
town, get to work.
Please tell me Finn has to get a job like at Uber Eats and he's delivering McDonald's.
My God. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Someone's like, these fries aren't even hot. And he's like, I'll fix it.
And then like he goes to this one place and the lady's like, there's only one wonton. And that's
Abby ruined it. Cool.
Okay. So
that was brilliant. You're welcome.
So listen. But what I'm saying is,
yes,
when somebody bequeaths you, what'd I say?
Queeth.
Thought I made answer the call, Jim.
Be careful. Move past this word.
When somebody leaves you something in a will, that usually happens fairly soon, within a couple months or a year after they pass away. So I guess I kept thinking maybe Egon's been passed for 20 years or 25 years. Maybe he just passed away recently. Maybe he is trapped on the other side and he's missing. Like, I don't know. I think we're going to learn a lot, but like, we don't even know if Callie is Egon's daughter. Like, was that talk the other day that she could have been married to Egon's son, and that's what they're.
The dad that's out of the picture could be an integral part to all of it.
What I think is, I feel like if it's Egon's daughter, she would know and be more aware of the Ghostbusters. Right?
Unless she was raised by her mother and her father has always been out of the picture.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways that could go. But what I'm saying is, I don't know what I'm saying, other than
you don't.
I still can't believe that.
Who are you, Ray from Jakku?
I hope that this movie opens with Egon's funeral, but it's like The Watchmen, and it's like they can put it to that same song, and they can show scenes of ghost busting that maybe happened after part 2. Intercut with like his current "Come gather around under the cloud."
Can we talk about that?
No, we're moving on.
No,
Jake.
Fine.
I hope it does not open.
Jake,
I can't handle.
Me too. I don't want that. That's just a dumb joke. I just wanted to sing that song.
I'm glad you did. It makes me think of something that Craig doesn't want me to share. Because
it's embarrassing.
We almost made a
It's embarrassing.
It was
for
me.
You.
I almost made a shut.
Abby has the floor.
Hear it.
Tell your story. I'll take your pen. Tell your story. Details.
I need the pen to think. I wanted to film.
No. Go back.
It was the spring of 2016. We were encroaching upon the release of Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which wasn't even titled that yet. It was getting a lot of flack. I wanted to make a video to support it, so I wanted to play that song.
Which is called?
The Times They Are Changing.
Yes.
Bob Dylan?
Yes.
All right. And I wanted to like stand in my backyard and have words written on poster board that I would one by one drop down about like
hide under the table
about like these are women, they are funny. This
can
is
you
movie
imagine
for, this
if
is the
you
new
did
Ghostbusters.
that? Like, can you? Hey,
now I'm outing myself. Yeah.
I get embarrassed that we still have that "We
Leslie
Love You,
Jones
Leslie
video?
Jones" video up.
Dude, I don't think Leslie
Can you
loves us.
imagine if you actually would have done that?
Yeah, I can't. It would have been taken down by now, Jake. It would have been off of our YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing. Smash that like button.
Oh my god. I literally, it's so cringy to think about. It's even cringier because I was like, at the time,
Craig was like, you beautiful genius.
That's a great idea.
That's great.
That's a hell of an
You're
idea.
gonna get everyone crying.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. But what would the cards have said?
Yeah.
I mean, I literally probably have a journal somewhere in this house that has what I wanted to say. It was like,
God.
This is the Ghostbusters you were familiar with. This is, I don't know, something about, it was probably like very personal about me, and I'm really glad I didn't do it.
No wonder you were so upset when that movie
No
came
wonder
out.
I had to go to therapy because of that movie.
Okay, so we see the reveal. It's insinuated that she's part of the Spangler family. Then we see some action shots. There's one shot that nobody has talked about yet. I want to break this down. There's this one cut of McKenna Grace, and she looks like she's sitting over this like fire ghost portal. So it's very scary.
It looks like the opening of a volcano, like a ghost volcano. I wonder if maybe that's the mine. Like maybe if the ghosts are kind of bubbling up out of the mine or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you can see like shapes and stuff. Like you can't tell what they are, but it looks like
literally looks like
reaching
she's
out.
staring into the face of hell, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd's down there, and he's like, "Well, it's not actually hell. It's kind of a mirrored image of New York City. It's called hell."
It's like it's glowing. I think more like less flames and more like sort of weird,
like a
eternal,
amber glow.
Yeah.
We see shots of this kind of entity or ghost going past a school bus, windows breaking. There's the shot of Judd Crandall inside of the hardware store.
That's Carrie Coon's husband.
Yeah, I found that out. That guy's married to Carrie Coon.
Oh, really?
Nepotism.
Yeah, I know what both of you are. Yes, that's good. Okay. Continue. Jeez. Okay.
He was like, I want to be in the movie. I'll be the locksmith.
Yeah.
Okay. Keymaster. Lots of keys. Little, okay.
It's got keys.
Everything's shaking. Then you get that cut where it cuts to Paul Rudd on the ground. You see a ghost trap on his car. They're kind of implying, and Jake, we talked about this the other day, that he probably releases that ghost in the classroom, right?
Yeah, because that shot of him, there's a shot of him like kind of falling onto he's on the ground and he kind of looks over his,
Right.
If you pause that, the ghost trap is sitting on the car. So I think he probably opens the trap up and lets out whatever that ghost is, which is the one that they're
chasing.
chasing.
And also
probably for the first time.
Probably, this is cool. He's wearing shorts, which means he's kind of a laid-back teacher. It's kind of cool.
It means that Jake relates to him.
Jake, you like shorts.
foremost,
Jake,
yeah.
you should do a Paul Rudd cosplay.
If we ever talk to Paul Rudd, will you talk to him about the shorts he wears in Ghostbusters?
Hey man, I hear you like shorts, and he'll be like, "What?
Cars.
You're shorts guy, right?"
That. Hey, we're here live with Paul Rudd, Mr. Gruberson from Ghostbusters Afterlife. Tell me about these shorts.
You don't care if it gets cold, do you?
There's a cut of him in the car. You see the terror dog, what we can assume is a terror dog foot slamming down on the hood.
Yeah.
Do we think, is it going to repeat the Keymaster, gatekeeper, I could think, I was saying Keymaster and locksmith routine?
I mean, if Gozer's coming back, then I think it has to, because isn't that part of that's part of the ritual or the rules, like that. I think that has to happen.
Give us the demonstration again. Okay.
You gotta do that.
That's how that works.
You gotta
John Yerkema said something funny. One thing that's funny to talk about all the innuendo in Ghostbusters that you didn't get when you were a kid. Mm-hmm. Jake didn't get the singing. Jake understood the sex jokes. He didn't understand the song. But John Yerkema was talking about when Dana says, "I want you inside me." He was like, "I thought she was going to eat him." It's pretty great. So it's funny, right? Do we think so? If they go that route, the obvious is Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd are the new.
Yeah, that would make sense if she's single.
I don't think it matters if she's single or not.
I love that.
That's part of
like Zool, or not Zool, Gozer and Ivo Shandor do little job interviews. And they're like, now, we're interested in...
What's your romantic involvement?
We want to bring you on as a gatekeeper, possibly. We like your resume. Now, we do have a question. Are you single? Mm-hmm. Would it be okay to meet up with a keymaster and... Well,
what do you look for in a keymaster?
Normally, keymasters are accountants or German men with Doberman pinchers.
Yeah.
John Candy. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get towards the end here because this is where we start seeing the scenes with the Ecto. They really, really are.
Come on, darling.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Do we think there's a possibility? Now, Jake says that Ray Stantz is living in the back of the Ecto. I think Ray Stantz is dead and has taken the form of the Ecto. I think he is the Ecto one.
Oh, I like that. I always thought it was really cool, the deleted scene from the original Ghostbusters where the car is like kind of alive and it's throwing the ticket off the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that'd be cool if they kind of use that idea. I mean, it would be super silly, but I don't know why. I just think that's very fun.
The car is a character. If you look at the poster,
it's just alive.
If you look at the if you look at everything, they're really using the Ecto one as like our first real bridge from the old to the new.
An anchor.
Well, something we mentioned on the live show that I think is worth repeating is I think that's a very smart thing to do because I think that allows you to not have to give away the guys immediately. Like you know, before the trailer came out and before the poster came out, we were thinking like I think I said on an episode, there's no way they're not going to put the guys in the trailer because they're going to want to like, you know, force it home to people who don't know that this is a sequel and not a remake or not following 2016. And I think a very smart way to do that without showing the guys is showing the old footage, which they did, but also showing the car as much as possible and being like, hey, they found the old Ecto one. Here's them driving it. Like, that's a very good, smart thing to do because everybody knows what it's like. You know, we know what the car is. You can reveal the car.
You can reveal the car. The scene, like, the first images we saw of the Ecto in the field, and like, Jake, I know you were in love with that. That scene of the Ecto one tearing through the wheat field or whatever is so cool. It's so different than anything we've ever seen.
It's just it literally is symbolic of Ghostbusters moving into something new and something different that you've never seen before. And
it's 100%
it's what it is. It's
God!
In a place it's never been.
Jason Reitman, where have you been?
You've never seen the ghost miss this house and miss this house. And come after you.
I like it.
Is that what you think happened,
Jake? So listen. Cuts to this scene. Let's talk about this gutter seat. We knew about it. Seeing it in action, it's really funny. These kids are. You can tell already. These kids have comedic timing. Like that is a when people like look at Finn Wolfhard's face. He's leaning out. She's holding... Okay, think about this. It's 2019. We see a Ghostbusters trailer. There's a gunner seat on the Ecto 1. By the way, everybody who says, just like the Kenner toy, is misremembering what the Kenner toy is because there's a chair on top of the goddamn toy.
It's on top.
But if we're getting a new Ecto 1 from Hasbro...
But it's similar.
With a gunner seat, I will be very happy. It is similar. It kind of harkens back to the... Abby, grab that tray right there. I want to show some.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite pieces of artwork that you're about to show. So, and I think a lot of people.
I don't want that. I just wanted to show. It reminds me of this. Just kidding. No, I was kidding. I need that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Show the back of it.
That's the wrong side of it.
There we go. So if you look at this original promotional art that was used a lot, the scene that they show with the Ecto tearing around the corner and them shooting the proton stream from the gunner seat, it's not that dissimilar from that, you know? Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really cool thing. And it's just like something we talk about, like a lot of people, especially everybody in the Ghostbusters community, a lot of people are really excited about upgrades to the equipment without having completely new equipment, because that makes sense. And I think the car is one of those things, like, you know, in Ghostbusters 2, it's a very different and upgraded. So it makes sense that there would be some changes without it being like, you know, it makes sense. What are you guys doing? You guys playing with toys?
Abby,
Still playing with toys.
Keep going, Jake. You're distracting him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, stop it.
Well, I like it. I like that. I wanted to say, which of the three of us, who's going to be in the gunner seat? I think it's me. Like,
because it's a girl? Yeah. Sure.
No,
that's
just because
fine.
I feel like I'd be the first one to get in it.
Well, you'd be the one who
probably
blasting
I'd be the first one to break something.
the side of the building with the embedded
to almost kill somebody.
Definitely.
Hey, we don't realize is
that you watch that scene, there's two people walking like directly under what they shoot, who, like, you can see them walking as they don't know what's happening at first.
Yeah.
They almost murder those people.
I love it.
That's so good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really cool addition to the equipment, and I think we're going to see new equipment, updated and upgraded things. But what I love about this is it's new, but it doesn't feel like shiny. It doesn't feel like, oh, look at this brand new 2019 Proton Pack / MP3 player.
It's an unearthing of the old stuff and like bringing it back out and like seeing what it's like now. And I love it. I love the gunner seat too. It's a very cool concept to be able to shoot from that. Yeah. And I think it's dope.
So you got Phoebe on the gunner seat. Jake's taking selfies over here.
I'm taking a picture for the Instagram.
Oh, okay. Wait, we should do that all at the same time.
No, we're going to keep... Hey, it's still an audio podcast, too.
I get to do whatever I want at this point. I worked hard. We got an hour and 16 minutes in.
Okay, so still going here. Mm-hmm. They're shooting the side of the building. We see the reveal. Ghostbusters Afterlife. The Ecto one comes to a screeching halt. And I don't know. I mean, that was the end of our trailer. We're going to talk about the international trailer, too, which had an additional scene. But, man, I really thought that it was an incredible debut for this movie that we've been looking forward to. I don't think I could have asked for anything else. And, like, I don't know. Like, I was so happy. I was so unbelievably taken aback and happy with what we got. And to see the reaction, to know that people are having a positive experience watching it, it's just cool. It's just really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I agree with you, and it feels like it's weird because the conversations that we've had about what we are looking like, what we would hope out of a first trailer, it almost feels like it's exactly what we've asked for. It's like it's a good introduction to everything. There's like pieces of Ghostbusters in there. It's not giving away too much. It didn't show us the original guy. Like, it didn't go overboard with
details on ghosts or
any of the aspects of it. Mm-hmm. And it feels like, you know, and I'm sure part of it was crafted like that on purpose, because I know they want to be, we want to be real about it. When 2016 came out, you know, the trailer had, you know, it was famous. It was famous for the biggest negative reaction like ever. And, you know, they were like, we need to make sure that doesn't happen. Even no matter what, it probably wouldn't have. But, you know, somebody is looking at it like, okay, how do we purposefully make this just the best trailer we can make it? And it feels like they put a lot of work into it. Yeah. And it feels like something that I was watching a couple other people do reviews of the trailer, and it was coming from people who, you know, might like Ghostbusters but aren't immersed in it like we are. And something that they said that I was just really happy to hear, I saw this kind of across the board, was a lot of people brought up like the fact that doing something completely different seems like the best way to go, but it also seems like there's a lot of respect here. Like it's not nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia. It's in there purposefully with, you know, an explicit reason to be there. And it feels like whoever is making this movie is really doing it from a, you know, a heartfelt place, which is true.
Yes, because it's literally like a microcosm, macrocosm. Like it is in a small way. Jason Reitman is exploring his past, his relationship with his dad, his relationship with Ghostbusters. He was latent to do this. He didn't want to direct the movie. But the fact is he's gone in and explored that life. And I think he's probably come to some sort of closure and is in a really good place and came up with a really good story idea. And I feel like it is grounded and tethered to importance and real relationships with real people. And I think there was lightning in a bottle. And I think it was magic when they made Ghostbusters and when they wrote it. And I think that this movie has some threads and continuation and connection to those parts and those people. And I think that it's going to be moving and emotional and also very funny. I'm not worried about it not being funny. I'm really happy that this trailer wasn't a bunch of jokes and that it felt the tone was serious and that it was beautiful and moving and exciting.
I've got a couple bullet points that I want to kind of prompt you guys with, but real quick, let's talk about the additional scene that was on the international trailer. No word on why this scene was left out of the American trailer. The only thing I can come up with is it is kind of funny, and for whatever reason, they really just wanted to go with a fairly straightforward, more heartstrings, emotional, dramatic trailer for the American audience. So the international trailer, it's all the exact same. And then it cuts to McKenna Grace and Logan Kim. Logan Kim is wearing ecto goggles, and McKenna Grace has on a proton pack. If your first reaction is, there's no way that girl could wear a proton pack, then you are being dismissed, and who cares? Because
Bye.
Hey, I guarantee this, anybody who I've seen who said that comment has never worn a proton pack. Because guess what? They weigh like 25 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Hey, also it's a movie about ghosts and shit. Like, just shut up and, you know, spend your disbelief for fucking 5 seconds.
Yeah. Don't be so serious. Just
serious.
Relax.
But anyway, so...
it's all just pretend.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
Finn Wolfhard's not really in Stranger Things. Mm-mm. Hey, Stranger Things kid, what are you doing? Chasing ghosts on your bicycle? Whatever.
I like the takeaway from this episode is that people are going to bully kids on bikes.
Yeah, we're going to bully everybody. So listen.
Some Stranger Things.
So she's shooting, I don't know what she's shooting at, but she's shooting a proton stream, and then she stops, and she's kind of like, has this huge smile on her face, and Logan Kim says, he's like, oh my gosh, and he presses a button, and this little Polaroid comes out of the side of the ecto goggles, and he starts doing the old, by the way, You're not
supposed to. I will say this. My dad worked for Polaroid in the 80s for like a long time. And I knew all about how you're not supposed to shake them.
Did you have the ecto goggle Polaroid?
No, but I had like some really cool pink Polaroid sunglasses with a matching bag with a matching instant camera. That's pretty tight.
It's basically the same thing.
I wish I still had it.
You're basically Logan Kim. And it's kind of funny and it's quick, but it's seeing a proton pack in action, and like what I thought it was great. Like, it doesn't bum me out that it wasn't on the American trailer. I mean, we're gonna see it in the movie. But I definitely wanted to mention that. And if you haven't seen that, go seek out the international trailer.
It's out there.
Did you guys enjoy that?
Yeah, I did. It was very cool. I think that that's the coolest tech that you see on the entire trailer is the Polaroid ecto goggles.
And again,
and it's kind of funny.
Just like the Gunner scene, it's new. But it's It's like a Polaroid instant picture. It's not
new
like,
but old.
But also Logan Kim's holding like he's got a wire connected to like a shotgun microphone, which when I first saw it, I thought was like new Ghostbusting equipment. I was like, oh, what is that? Oh, it's a microphone.
It's just a microphone. It's just a boom mic.
What is that? Oh man, they must have went to Best Buy. There must be a Circuit City in Somerville.
I like that scene, and I think it's cool to see that stuff, but I'm kind of glad it wasn't in the American trailer because it's kind of tacked on as like a button. And to me, the whole thing with the ecto and the car like skidding to a halt and just hitting pitch black feels like that happens, and then I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And It feels like a good place to end it. And adding more just seems to kind of fuck up the pacing a little bit. Like, so I'm glad that we have that to watch, but I'm glad it's separate from the trailer that we have. I bet that's why it's not in there. It just doesn't really flow well.
Right. Mm-hmm. And different audiences internationally react to different types of things.
Yeah,
so
the title's different too. It's Ghostbusters Legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, couple bullet points that I want to run down. And listen, we're going to be talking about this trailer nonstop for like the rest of our lives. So we'll think of more ways to analyze it, and we're, you're going to be sick of it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, this is like the best time. I mean, I know when we actually see the movie, it's going to be amazing, but the build-up can be really fun.
Yeah.
It's a good
fun
time.
is in the anticipation.
Yeah. And you know what? Something like we didn't mention earlier, we were talking about when there might be a second trailer. The other thing is that...
it'll probably be at Ghostbusters Fan Fest 2020.
Oh, stop. Toy Fair is in
We'll
February.
all get a text.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Toy Fair is in February, and I don't think that we'll see everything by then. I think it's still probably too early, but I think we're going to maybe see some of the toy line, or we'll get some sort of taste of something at Toy Fair. So it's like, we got a couple months, we'll get that. It'll be something to kind of hold us over, and it will be another batch of stuff for us maybe to speculate about.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because we're going to start seeing some of the new figures, some of the new, whatever, if they do play sets, if they do equipment. Yeah, so I cannot tell you how excited. I could. I won't. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, we just spent an hour telling them how excited.
Look at where I am.
Yeah.
Think I like toys?
Look at all the stuff we got.
Guys.
We like it. This is a piece of cardboard.
What are you showing them? I can't see it.
It's Winston. Spectral Winston.
Okay. Oh, it's Winston.
Cool. We'll drop it.
You just got to a point where in your audio podcast you're showing things to
these
camera.
Are toys.
Why are you doing that?
They're all I can reach.
Abby's holding an Abby Yates figure. Here, hold Slimer. Okay.
Is it the one with the crazy eyes? Is it the one with it's the one with like the Pennywise eyes?
Okay.
All right.
Oh, it's okay. Shh.
Let's talk about this. First off, the ghost that escapes the ghost trap. Is it Slimer, and do you care if it's Slimer?
I don't care if it is. I think it is possible. So at first I thought like, hey, it could be. The scenes with it are so quick. If you pause it, it looks like it's smiling. It looks like it could be possible that they're putting some sort of filter on it so they can hide that it's Slimer and that one in the movie. But that also seems like a lot of work.
Right.
So I think it probably just isn't Slimer. I don't think the effects are done yet, because there are a couple shots where it really just looks like a blob with no
Right.
It
almost has
like a Scolari brother. It looks like a grub.
When you see it in the rafters, it looks like it's sprouting multiple arms and legs at different spots.
And it also
so I think it's probably just a.
It also has like a blue tint, and also I wouldn't think that the first big ghost that they reveal in this movie would be Slimer, right? I feel like they're probably going to want to do something new.
Yeah, I think it's probably just a new one.
Okay.
New, but probably with very intentional, like reminiscent colors and shapes to Slimer and to the other ghosts that we've seen in Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
There was an interview printed today with Annie Potts. She was doing some press for the digital release of Toy Story 4. I think this was done before the trailer came out. But she had mentioned, they asked her about the new Ghostbusters movie, and she said, basically, people are going to absolutely love it. We just finished working on it, and that it's an amazing take, and that she can't wait for people to see it. So my question to you, when it comes to Annie Potts, here's our fuck budget. When it comes to Annie Potts and Sigourney Weaver and their characters, Janine and Dana Barrett respectively, how do we think they're going to fit into this story, assuming that they're there, which we know they are, even though it hasn't been announced, but we know they are.
We're giving fucks? Or are we giving how many fucks we think they gave?
No fucks. I'm just asking.
I think there was some fucking going on, is what I'm going to say. Is that okay?
Janine gave a couple fucks.
Yeah, I think she did, like 2 of them specifically. Yeah, that's what I think. I don't know what Dana's involvement is going to be. I'd love to see her come back in some capacity. Obviously, I love Sigourney Weaver, but Annie Potts, I love those statements. I love that she said that it was going to be something that the audience is going to relate to and grab onto and love. But yeah, I think she's an integral part. I think that.
But why? Like what?
Because her and Egon, I think, had a very deep connection in the first movie, and I think that she wanted to have a baby. And I think that her and Louis Tully wouldn't have survived because I don't think he could have handled her. So I think that her and Egon might have gone off in some way. And I think that Egon couldn't have kept up a normal relationship. And I think that he would have probably faltered as a father and as a grandfather. And I think that's a believable story. Yeah. So that's why I think she's going to be in it.
But what you're saying is we think Janine is these kids' grandmother. Yeah. I think so too, because I think that's the only reason it would make sense to have Janine in this story. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't make sense to bring your receptionist back.
I don't know, because
someone has to answer the phone.
To me, if it's their grandmother, like, so is the thought that, okay, let's say if Janine's their grandmother, do they not know her either? Because there's no way. It wouldn't make any sense where they're like, oh, we're really close with our grandmother, Janine. We never knew our grandfather. Nobody ever talks about the time that our family saved the entire world. Like, I feel...
Well, it doesn't... I mean, we don't know. I mean, maybe they're not close. Like, maybe she stayed in New York. You know, maybe they had a kid together and then Egon... Like, for all we know, Egon left for this farmhouse 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Yeah. Like, so, I mean, who knows? Like, that's all stuff we'll find out. And I mean, maybe it's not true, but to me, it just, I don't know.
Yeah. I see, I do not think that it's Janine and Egon's family. I think it's Egon's family. I think Janine, they'll figure out a way to bring her back into the fold somehow.
Right.
I don't know what that is, but like, I don't, because really, I try not to get too into like the timelines of what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. But even if Carrie Coon's character is 35 years old, that would mean that she was born 5 years before. That means she was born when I was born, 1984. So like the timeline doesn't match up for her. Right. But the other way they could do it, let me talk this out, is if Janine and Egon had a son and that son married Carrie Coon. That would make more sense, but I don't know. We're going to know soon enough. So we know she's going to be involved in some. But I think you're right, Abby. Like her connection to Egon in general is... That's enough. Like if maybe they stayed lifelong friends, and now that the Ghostbusters are back, Janine shows up. Maybe halfway through the movie they just relaunched the business, and she's like, "Well, I'm good at this."
No, I see her in like a caretaking, maternal, strong role. That's in some way, bringing people back. Yeah, maybe
she's part of it. Like maybe Carrie Coon's character has such angry feelings towards her dad, and she has a sit down conversation and Annie Potts explains to her how good of a person he actually was. I don't think I'm mentally or emotionally prepared to handle that conversation. But okay, what about Sigourney Weaver? Do we think her and Venkman settled down together? Are they married in this universe?
I guess it's possible, but I feel like just the fact that she seem, especially when you watch Ghostbusters 2, she's been through so much with these guys and has such a personal bond with all four of them at this point. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for her to be there in some capacity, and I don't know what that is. And like, Peter doesn't seem like the kind of person who would ever be able to settle down with anybody. Right.
But you know what's a bummer? You know the new Bill and Ted. Ted's brother, Deacon, is being played by Beck Bennett. I really wish, I think that's great and I think that's funny, but wouldn't it be even funnier if Beck Bennett was playing Oscar? Like kind of an asshole, like, oh God, I don't want to go up there. God, that farmhouse is stupid. God. No, I hate ghost busting. Will Oscar be, we have to ask it, will Oscar be in this movie? Will he be mentioned at least?
I think if
If she's
think
in
if
it, he will be.
Yeah, like why not? Like maybe he's there somehow. I mean, if he's not, I don't think it's a big deal because he's going to be, he'll be grown up at this point or whatever, and he might not matter to the story. I don't know.
He'll be about 30 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another one. Let's end it on this, and then we'll continue next week. Will this movie see Winston Zeddemore, Ray Stantz, Peter Venkman putting on flight suits for one last adventure?
Yes.
100%.
100%. We haven't seen it. It's what everyone wants to see, and I think we're going to see it.
Yeah.
Do we think there will be new Ghostbusters per se besides these kids? Like, do you think Paul Rudd or Carrie Coon or other characters we haven't met yet might be throwing on flight suits as well?
I think maybe Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd are probably an option, but I don't think there's going to be other people we don't know yet who just happen to show up and be Ghostbusters.
If they put on flight suits, are they wearing the old ones, or does AJ Quick have a little setup in Egon's basement making patches?
I thought Patty was going to show up with a...
They're wearing old ones for sure. They're wearing whatever they find. Like any equipment is just coming from that basement.
Holy shit. I know what's going to happen. They're all going to be wearing Spangler uniforms. The whole family. The whole Spangler family. Because he's going to have like 6 of them. Yeah. He's going to have a gray one. One of them's going to have the GB... Logan Kim's going to be wearing a really huge GB2 gray Spangler.
One's going to have a Santa hat with it.
I hope somebody's wearing a slime blower.
Yeah, dude.
Gosh.
Who knows?
You know that they sat down and they had this conversation and they were like, what can we do that'll make people freak out? And they listed every...
fuck people up. Yeah.
What's going to fuck... And like for us, it's anything.
No.
Oh God, it's Ray's slime scooper from the subway. Look, it's Venkman's construction hat.
It's the chair from Dana's apartment.
Well, people do think they see Dana's chair.
Yeah.
I went back and looked, and it's not.
I mean, it's a chair.
It's just a chair.
It's just a chair.
It's just a chair.
You don't see anything else from it.
Chair.
Yeah. It's a nice chair.
I pulled a picture up of Dana's chair, and I went back and looked, and I was like, oh, it's not. No.
And I guess we can safely assume that those are not actually Egon's glasses that McKenna Grace is wearing. They're just similar.
Yeah.
They're just similar.
Because they're little kid glasses.
It's a child. It's a child.
A child.
A child.
I'm assuming Janosch will not be in this movie. And you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I think Rick Moranis is going to be in this movie.
You think so?
I do. I really do.
Okay.
I really do.
I like that
I hope
optimism.
so. And I would enjoy it if he was.
Even more than Bill Murray, that's the one that you hear people bring up. And even if it's small, even if it's a cutaway, even if it's, a couple years ago, Rick Moranis said that he thought that Louis Tully would have ended up in jail, like on accident, but with like a Bernie Madoff type of thing.
Yeah.
And he's just living in prison. The prisoner's
AJ Quick had a really good way they could bring him in.
Go for it.
And he said that he should be the executor of Egon's estate.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Like his lawyer. Like that would be, that would make sense.
Yeah, it would.
What if that's the opening scene, is that they're at this... It's like the scene from Basketball. If everybody could leave the room, I got some personal things I got to say to Coop.
Hey, well, I want to see like Louis Tully and he's in a suit, and it's like kind of sad, because he's like reading the will or whatever. But he also it's also a lot like the courtroom scene. He has no idea what he's doing, and he's just like, I guess he gave this to you. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, well, it seems like you were left a house in the middle of Oklahoma. And that seems like a pretty good deal to me, but you're going to want to worry about those property taxes because they've been going up. But honestly, I got further with that. I even thought I was going
to. Did.
So yeah, good job.
I said property taxes. I don't know much about property taxes. I got my property tax to night school. I'll leave.
Oh, but that's fine because Egon died at night. I'm sorry.
Ouch. Ouch.
I'm sorry.
Ouch.
I'll be right here. Yeah, man. It's incredible. Okay, to recap.
Yes.
Ghostbusters Afterlife is the official title of Ghostbusters 3, which is a continuation of the movies that we saw in 1984 and 1989. They're not retconning Ghostbusters 2 for the love of God. Can we please just clarify that? Like, they don't need to come out. Like, you don't need to see Oscar in his...
That's not the hot topic, okay? Like, that's not the thing about this movie, is
like,
that they're trying to erase Ghostbusters 2.
There's gonna be a line in the trailer that's like, my apartment was cleaner than that time Dana cleaned my apartment in Ghostbusters 2, even though I asked her not to. And I found out I had a hamper. Like, God.
Let's go to the Sizzler like we did that one time.
Hey, can I also say, like, people who are like upset because their own like fan fiction ideas aren't, like, I see a lot of people, a lot of people are coming up with that. A lot of people think they're not canonizing GB2 because of the car is the Ecto 1 and not the 1A. And then you got some people who are like, well, maybe it's two cars. Yeah. But then you got all these people who are like, no, I think it's one car. And they turned it. And I'm like, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think, because you didn't write or direct Ghostbusters. And if it comes out that it is two cars, then it's fucking two cars. It doesn't matter, like, the little like head cannons that you have, like, they might be fun and they're great, but you can't get mad at the movie for disproving your own head canon.
I do think it was two cars, and I think, well, in real life it was two cars, and all you would have to do is have a fucking a second like a door in the barn with the Ghostbusters 2 logo on it, like from the other car. Like, there's like, they don't have to,
hey, like in the video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, you told me that they have like the parts to the just like sitting there.
And also Jurassic World did not specifically acknowledge the events of Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, but they still happened. Like, the point of this movie is not to go out of the way to canonize or decanonize anything. Like, we can have...
It's to tell a story, a new, refreshing story that extends the old one that we love.
And there's going to be references to Ghostbusters 2, because there's going to be references to... We just saw a Ghostbusters trailer that has a whole shot of fucking spores, mold, and fungus. What if there's a jar that says Egon's mucus?
There's going to be a toaster down there. There will be a toaster in this movie.
I hope so.
God, keep it canon.
If there's not a line of dialogue that says, this is worse than that time when that judge put the Scoleri brothers on trial, then they got the chair and died, and then the Ghostbusters got to stay in the whole courtroom.
I hope it explains why Winston wasn't in there. I hope it explains everything.
If they have to explain one thing in this movie, is where the fuck Winston was. Because he was in that courtroom.
Hey, I thought it would be really funny if, like, Ernie Hudson grows his mustache back and has the, in part 1 he has a mustache and in part 2 he doesn't. I think it's very funny if maybe he has his mustache, films all his scenes with the mustache, and then they say, hey, you know what? We're going to keep with the GB2 canon. We need to CG out his mustache, and it's a whole Superman, situation.
And then they hire Henry Cavill.
Release the mustache.
Do you bleed?
You will. Martha.
I didn't know her name was Martha. That's my mom's name, too. I'm nothing but excited. I can't believe this is happening. Real quick, major shout out, congratulations to Ghost Corps. They are the production company ran by Ivan Reitman, Dan Aykroyd, and a whole host of a whole team. Eric Reich is doing the Lord's work. He's running the show over there, putting up with the fans, and they do an incredible job. And really, we feel, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know we all feel extremely lucky and fortunate and grateful that Ghost Corps exists, and that they're actively working on moving this franchise into the next generation. And major shout out and props to Jason Reitman, who, by all accounts, him and Gil Keenan have put together an incredible script and have put together an incredible film. And I absolutely can't wait to see it. And I know everybody feels that way.
Yeah, props to the whole cast and everybody.
Yeah. Final thoughts before we head out?
I don't know. I don't think I'm ready.
I'm definitely not ready.
Yeah.
I've been crying.
I'm going to try. So I think in the coming months, I'm going to try to be calm and not let my like paranoia overtake me for this movie, and I'm going to try to like slow roll enjoy everything as it comes out, no matter what it is. And I think to keep busy, the three of us are going to finish our Twister musical that we've been talking about.
100%.
Don't you have to start something to finish it?
Hey, we started it.
Hey, I started it.
I got multiple tracks.
I can play it on the air.
Now. Why aren't we doing it?
Well,
it's the only way to pass the time. How many months? 6 months?
Here's the thing, though. The opening of the Twister musical has to have a song like the first song from Rent that really sets the stage for Twisters.
Oh, like it's got all the different characters coming in.
Yeah, isn't it like a medley of like all the? You have to write all the other songs first.
Yeah, but no, the first song, the song.
Oh, okay.
How we gonna pay?
Oh, okay.
But it's gonna be like, how we gonna catch all these twisters?
Dorothy's gonna fly.
Yes.
Dude, I really hope Dorothy's in this Ghostbusters movie.
Same here.
Yeah. On the back of the Ecto.
On the back of the Ecto. I'll give you 1 day.
I'm not back.
I always thought it was a metaphor.
All right. Ghostbusters Afterlife, July 10th, 2020. I'm very excited. I'm also very excited for the toys. We're going to do a lot of speculation of what we're going to be getting, but like I said, if I can get an Ecto-1 with a gunner seat that comes with an exclusive, maybe like a Logan Kim figure and a McKenna Grace, and I'm so excited. We get to learn all these new characters. This is so fucking cool.
Yep. I'm pumped.
All right.
Dude, we're going to get that underground firehouse playset. I hope.
Oh, that'd be cool. Ooh, that would be cool. Hey, listen, we're going to sign off. Before we do that, I want to let everybody know, once again, about Yes Have Some on social media. You can find us at YHS Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, YHSpodcast.com, and, of course, the official Facebook group of Yes Have Some Podcast is Yes Have Some Group Therapy. Abby.
Group Therapy. It's so easy. Log into Facebook, search for Yes Have Some Group Therapy. It will pop up. We have so many members, almost 700 at this point. You can be one of them. Just ask to join. Click the ask to join button, and either myself, Craig, or Jake will accept you. And then you can post away about your stress, about Ghostbusters and toys and Stephen King and whatever you're into that we're also into. We will sympathize and give you likes and comments, and it'll be really fun. So join up.
Absolutely. And feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes or wherever else you get your podcasts. Jake, Abigail, this has been fun. Yep. This is officially, I think we're closing in between our Friday night. Last Friday we did a podcast on the Vanity Fair article. Then we had the live show, and then we have this. We're at about 5 hours of Afterlife coverage for a movie that had nothing available to cover a week ago.
Yeah.
So, plenty to talk about and take in. It's been less than a year since that teaser trailer first dropped. We're less than a year away. I think we're like 7 months away from the actual movie. Mm-hmm. And we want you to join Yes Have Some as we go on this journey towards, I don't know, no matter what.
Afterlife.
This is the biggest release, a film release of our lifetime. It really is. This is my most anticipated film. And I don't see how... I'm 35 going on 36. I like when kids say that. I know what the next one is.
I'm 35 and a half.
There's nothing in my life that is ever going to come along from a franchise standpoint that means as much to me as Ghostbusters does. I know that for a fact. And there will never be another Ghostbusters movie that I will look forward to more than the proper follow-up to Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. So this is it. The next 7 months of our life is a build-up to... It's. We never thought we were going to get this.
Nope.
There's certain things...
It shouldn't have happened. Call it fate. Call it luck. Call it karma.
But there is a precedent that, I'm going to get weird for a second. The Chicago Cubs did win the World Series.
Yeah.
And Guns N' Roses did get back together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Ghostbusters 3 is happening.
Yeah, I know the cast of Friends did post a picture on Instagram of all of them hanging out together.
See?
Without Paul Rudd.
Wait a minute. If Adam Sandler announces Billy Madison 2, I think I'll be pretty fucking pumped for that.
Okay.
I already got the whole plot in my head. I know what it should be.
I did read an article about Jim Carrey's considering an Ace Ventura 3.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, Ace Ventura Afterlife. Somebody had a tweet that was kind of making fun of Ghostbusters, but it was really funny. It was like Millie Bobby Brown finds an abandoned English farmhouse, goes inside and opens one of the dressers and sees a ruffled polyester suit, and turns around and Austin Powers is standing behind her.
Hey, they should have Millie Bobby Brown do a cover of On Our Own for the soundtrack.
Oh my god!
Honestly.
What the fuck?
Hey, here's a question. We know we're going to hear the Ghostbusters song in this movie. What if they played like a deep cut? Like, what if we heard On Our Own in this movie?
I would love, dude. Yeah. I would love On Our Own or Saving the Day are like those two.
Stop it! I'm
like
crying.
Those are my favorites from those two.
Oh, I think
Saving the Day.
Saving the Day. I really do think that we're gonna hear those songs.
Hey, real quick, you know, in the movie when they show the YouTube footage of,
I think Jason Reitman has good taste in music.
In the trailer, when they show the YouTube footage of the Ghostbusters. Yeah. Which is an alternative cut that we never saw in the movie. You know, at Ghostbusters Fan Fest, Jason Reitman talked about how they've been going through all the dailies looking for footage that was never used. That is an example of it right there.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be funny if Saving the Day was playing on the YouTube video? Like, we find out, like, they were just blasting.
Someone just had it on they had it on speakers. They were playing it through the Ecto.
It's just like Dragon Con. Dude, that's Bernie
really
Hudson was on the top.
Song.
One thing I didn't talk about it, but there was a close-up shot of the proton pack. There was some new stuff on the back. It's like a little yellow wire. I know our prop making friends were interested in that. So hopefully we'll get some really good shots of the equipment soon enough and start building some of this stuff. Man, Dragon Con's gonna be fun next year.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it?
Oh yeah,
it's happening.
Woo! All right, everybody. For Abigail Gardner and Jacob Walsh, my name is Craig Goldberg saying thank you so much for joining us for this Afterlife.
Oh.
Why would you do that?
Because it felt fun. I'm sorry.
Abby just threw Slimer at the camera.
I didn't think it would hit.
Will you please fix the camera?
I don't know how. Is that better?
It's something. For Abigail Gardner and Jacob Walsh, my name is Craig Goldberg saying thank you so much for joining us for the Ghostbusters Afterlife Breakdown. We will have more coverage next week, as well as looking forward to this year. We got big plans for this year. We'll be letting everybody know about those plans very soon.
Yep.
We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Have some podcast.
See you,
bye, guys.
City Slicker.